Learning objectives. At the end of this topic, you will be able to classify natural fibers as animal fibers along with their specific sources. Understand various steps involved in making of different types of yarns, namely cotton, jute, wool, and silk. Relate the term sericulture as human effort to produce silk in large scale. Identify different stages in the life cycle of silk moth to comprehend the fact that why some cocoons are allowed to undergo metamorphosis. Introduction. You all know that food, clothing, and shelter are the three basic needs of life. Why do you wear clothes? You wear clothes for protection against climate, for modesty and beauty, and also to show status. The material that you use for clothing is called fabric. Do you wonder what these fabrics are made of? How do we get a variety in fabrics? Let us see a video clip to understand about fiber. Fiber. Natural, plant, animal, man-made, synthesized in laboratory. Click the tabs to know more. A material which is available in the form of thin and continuous strand is called fiber. The fibers which are obtained from plants and animals are called natural fibers. Examples: cotton, jute, silk, wool. The fibers which are synthesized in industry from simple chemicals obtained from petroleum are called man-made fibers. Example: nylon, acrylic, polyester. Animal fiber. Silk and wool are animal fibers. Wool. Wool comes from sheep, goat, and yak. These wool-yielding animals have hair on their body. Hair traps a lot of air. Air is a poor conductor of heat, which helps these animals to stay warm. Let us see other animals that yield wool. Camels are found in desert regions. Llama and alpaca are found in South America. Angora goats are found in hilly regions such as Jammu and Kashmir. Fibers to wool. Selective breeding and rearing of sheep. Let us see about selective breeding. The hairy skin of the sheep has two types of fibers that form its fleece. 1. The coarse beard hair. 2. The fine, soft underhair close to the skin. The fine hairs provide the fibers for making wool. The process of selecting parents for obtaining special characters in their offspring, such as soft underhair in sheep, is termed selective breeding. In India, sheep are reared generally in the states of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttaranchal, Arunachal Pradesh, and Sikkim, or the plains of Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, and Gujarat. Processing fibers into wool. Steps shown below are followed to obtain wool from sheep or other wool-bearing animals. Shearing, scouring, sorting, dyeing, spinning. Shearing. The fleece, hair of sheep, is shaved off along with a thin layer of skin. In olden days, this was done using a pair of metal blades, but nowadays machine is used to cut off the fleece. This is similar to shaving off beards or hair. This process is called shearing. Shearing is done generally in summer so that the sheep could get new hair by winter to get protection against cold. Scouring. Fleece, after shearing, is washed properly to remove dirt and grease. The washing of fleece after shearing is called scouring. Sorting. After scouring, sorting is done. The hairy skin is sent to a factory where hair of different textures are separated or sorted. After sorting, fluffy fibers called the burr are picked out from hair. Burr is the fiber that gives wool. Dyeing. After sorting and picking out of burrs, these are dyed in desired colors. Spinning. The fibers are straightened, combed, and rolled into yarn. The longer fibers are made into wool for sweaters, and the shorter fibers are spun and woven into woolen cloths. Silk. Silk is another important animal fiber. Silkworm spins silk. Silkworm is reared to obtain silk. Rearing of silk. Rearing of silkworm is known as sericulture. Silkworms are reared on mulberry leaves as they feed on mulberry leaves. Life cycle of silkworm. There are 4 stages in the life cycle of silk moth: eggs, larva, pupa, and adult. Let us understand the life cycle of silkworm from the video. A life of a silkworm starts when the female silkworms lay eggs on the mulberry leaves. After some days, these eggs hatch into larvae. These larvae are called as caterpillars or silkworms. Slowly, these caterpillars grow in size by feeding on the mulberry leaves. The next stage of the silkworm is pupa. When the caterpillar is grown big, it starts weaving a net around itself so that it can easily hold itself in the net. Now it secretes a fiber made of protein, which hardens and solidifies itself when exposed to air. This is known as silk fiber. Caterpillars continue to spin silk fiber till they are completely covered by them. This silk covering where the silkworm covers itself is known as cocoon. The development of the silkworm takes place inside the cocoon. After some time, the pupa enters the adult stage and emerges out of the cocoon as moth. The entire process continues, and hence it is referred to as the life cycle of the silkworms. Silk moth to silk. Let us understand the rearing of silkworms. A female silk moth lays hundreds of eggs at a time. After they are laid by the silk moth, eggs are stored over a clean cloth or paper strips. When larvae are hatched from eggs, they are kept in clean bamboo trees with fresh leaves of mulberry. Larvae feed on mulberry leaves for about 20 to 25 days. After that, larvae move into tiny chambers of bamboo in which they start spinning cocoon. They do it by secreting liquid protein from the salivary glands. Finally, they enclose themselves in a cocoon. Cocoons get hardened because of exposure to air. Silk from cocoon. Let us understand about the reeling of silk. First of all, cocoons are boiled and then silk fiber is separated out using machines. Machine unwinds the silk thread from cocoons. The process by which silk fiber is obtained is called reeling the silk. Summary. Let's summarize the topic. A material which is available in the form of thin and continuous strand is called fiber. Silk comes from silkworms and wool is obtained from sheep, goat, and yak. Hence, silk and wool are animal fibers. The hairs of camel, llama, and alpaca are also processed to yield wool. Sheep hair is sheared off from the body, scoured, sorted, dried, dyed, spun, and woven to yield wool. Silkworms are caterpillars of silk moth. Silk fibers are made of a protein. Silk fibers from cocoons are separated out and reeled into silk threads. Silkworms are caterpillars of silk moth. Look for eggs of any moth or butterfly in your garden or park or any other place full of plants. They look like tiny specks, dots, laid in a cluster on the leaves. Pull out the leaves containing eggs and place them in a cardboard box. Take some leaves of the same plant or another plant of the same variety. Chop them and put them in the box. Silkworms are caterpillars of silk moth. Look for eggs of any moth or butterfly in your garden or park or any other place full of plants. They look like tiny specks, dots, laid in a cluster on the leaves. Pull out the leaves containing eggs and place them in a cardboard box. Take some leaves of the same plant or another plant of the same variety. Chop them and put them in the box. Eggs will hatch into caterpillars, which are busy eating day and night. Add leaves every day for them to feed upon. Use paper napkin or a paper to hold a caterpillar. Observe every day and note 1. The number of days taken for eggs to hatch. 2. Number of days taken to reach the cocoon stage. 3. Number of days to complete the life cycle. Record your observations in your notebook.